Good morning, everyone, and thank you again for attending another webinar. So today is really exciting. We are talking about our new enterprise release webinar. So what we are a leader in identity governance for security and compliance. The agenda for today. So again, we're going to talk about our new enterprise edition, super exciting. So we're going to talk about what is the problem that everyone's facing today. We're going to talk about what YouAttest is. What is the exciting enterprise edition? Of course, we're going to do a live demo, and at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. I'm going to pass this over to Garrett now, and he's going to talk about the problems.
Fantastic, Ashley. And as Ashley stated, this is an exciting moment for us. We pushed the team. We took in all the input from over 2 years of talking to customers, prospects, auditors, MSSPs, etc. We took all these inputs together and created this amazing enterprise edition. But now back to why we did it. First of all, identities are the attack vector of 2022 going on. That's just it. They are the attack vector. You know, when I started my career, it was really heavy on network-centric security. The cloud, there is no network. There's just identities. And where are we at? What's the state of the union there? Palo Alto's Unit 42 says 98 to 99% of cloud permissions are overly permissive. What does that mean? And I got a slide. I'm going to talk about that. It means it screams. It's not that we don't have the functionality to lock down identities. We don't have the tools and the processes to attest to those policies and to those permissions. So where are we going? Right now, the state of the union is we got this huge problem, but the tools that we have to actually execute on a governance are not meeting the challenge. They're not for everyone, okay? What we see is these legacy tools that are on premise and take months to deploy and are usually 10 to 20 times more expensive than the actual IAM solution. And we don't have the personnel, which is a huge thing in 2022 because the products are too complicated. Next. And so what happens? Enterprises are still doing governance, some sort of, but they do them manually. They create these awful spreadsheets, which I always see when I get on our first call. We see these, Kashif sees them, Ashley sees them, I see them in our demos and things, and they just don't work. You've got some spreadsheet that could send an email that with some nag emails, and then it's just a process where the actual value of the process, the whole NIST 853 PRAC-4, which spells out the need for access reviews, is not being done. Next. Hence, YouAttest. YouAttest is the 100% cloud-based solution that automates and simplifies this process, and this being identity security and compliance, knowing what you have and what resources are allocated to who. Next. Right now, the main driver for YouAttest is the compliances. Is the SOC, SOC 2, HIPAA, straight up. That's what we get called out. That's what we say we help you because a risk manager is there and saying, hey, either is a risk manager internal or external says, I got this compliance. The control states, as I said, NIST 853 PRAC-4 states explicitly that I need to be doing some sort of access review. The future, though, the future of this isn't just compliance. It is how part and parcel IT needs to run. We can't just be allocating users. Users are way too dynamic. Identities are way too dynamic. The idea of security, a lot of security comes from the idea of it from the network world. You set up a port, you keep it open, fine. It's 80, that's 443, rock and roll. That's not identity security. Identity security is a constant vigilance on what I have allocated today and who has resources. Watch where I go with this is what's needed in the market. Next. So little analogy. once upon a time, there was a pre-Salesforce day, and sales managers struggled. They struggled. They struggled with trying to keep track of who their salespeople were, what accounts were assigned to them, what commissions they were going, what state the sale was in, etc. Then Salesforce came around, and now every sales manager knows how to use Salesforce. It's just the case of the fact. But what about the risk? What about the risk stuff? Next. That's where YouAttest comes in. We are designed, YouAttest is designed for the internal and external risk manager. That's what we live for. That's who we talk to. That's who we take when Cher goes through the details of the wonderful features that he got the team to build into this release. That's where this input came from. The risk managers are the people that matter going forward in the future. It's not just the person who twiddles the bits and gets the access out there. That's not enough. What needs to be done is the attestation that that user should have that privilege. Watch how we do this. Next. So what we did when we designed this product is took reality into account. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Reality is in 2022 going forward, most of the organizations, if not all, have some sort of identity solution. That could be the wonderful Okta product, the Azure AD, the Jump Cloud. We're working with Ping Identity now. Is that you guys have something. Something has all your identities. Why recreate the wheel for identity governance? Next, watch what we do. We spend time, Cher's allocated resources and got specialists to do an SSO connection into those resources, and that pulls information into YouAttest. And that allows the risk managers not to become identity access management specialists. No, that allows them to do their job. That is to look at the users, look at the applications, look at the groups, and then push out. And that's what you'll see in the demo that Kashif will do. Push out attestations to the reviewers. Two people involved in this, and you'll see, well, that's what the demo show. You'll see a risk manager control all of the process of attestation, but it's not his job, and nor should he be approving. He needs to push out the attestation to the reviewers. And watch what we added, because customers asked us to, and we responded. What we can do, if there's siloed resources that are not connected to your IAM products, we can take the information via CSV or through the wonderful advances in the latest release, which we'll talk about. We have a wonderful API as well. Either way, bottom line, the result is we have automated a really difficult process. We have brought automation to the identity attestation, and not just for the big companies, not just for the ones who have to write us a 7-figure check. No, we are doing this. We are doing this for every company. Ashley is leads customer satisfaction. We have customers as small as 100, and we go all the way up to literally 7 figures in identities. That's what we can do, because the product is cloud-based and scales. And we're going to go into that. Cher's going to go into the product features. All right, let's go into it. Take it away.
Well, first, I think we have one of our customers, Vinod, on that had a question. Vinod, did you have a question? Okay, we'll come back to him.
Yeah, or we can do them at the end, because we'll be taking our questions as we do. Thanks.
Perfect. All right, so now we're going to talk about YouAttest the Enterprise Edition overview. So we're going to have Cher, our Senior Product Manager. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Cher. I'm the product manager here at YouAttest. I'm just going to go over these points that you see on your screen, which we have implemented and covered in our version 3 release. Next slide, please. All right, so re-architecture to scale to millions. So one of the biggest items we had from our stakeholders was to scale up the application to withstand the load for millions of entitlements last year. And in order to do that, we did quite a bit of R&D in the beginning of this year. And I'm not going to go too much into the technical details about the indexing, but it's basically a data structure that helps speed up the data retrieval process. What we did is we have configured unique index for any kind of operations, and that has been separated with columns. So a proper indexing has ensured that we have quicker access to our database, and we can do the retrieval of our data with that. The next item was retrieving relevant data only. So we have introduced a high level of precision when it comes down to retrieving relevant information, whether it be in your campaigns or the reports that you see. Of course, it's not necessary when the amount of the overall data is very less, but now we see our users going beyond 500,000 in their entitlements and the roles that they process and that they review. And that's the reason why specifying the portion of that required information have saved a lot of time for us. The next is getting rid of the correlated subqueries. Basically, a correlated subquery is a parent or an outer query. I mean, this kind of search is done row by row, and that takes a lot of time. And that also means that it decreases the overall speed of the process. So now we have rid our database from any correlated subqueries, and our speed has gone really higher now. The last point that is on this screen is avoiding coding loop for better performance. This was a very much needed in order to avoid slowing down the processes and the whole sequence when a code is compiled and it is also then get executed. So this is achieved by doing the update and insert command when we do the updates on individual rows, and it has been updated. So we do not do coding loops anymore, and we try to avoid them as much as possible. Next slide. Okay, the next is around the coding. So previously, we were using the Flask framework of Python. But since we have scaled up to an enterprise edition, and the Flask give us like limited ability to handle a big amount of operation when it comes down to us reviewing, delegating, and creating reports. So we have moved from Flask to Fast APIs. So what Fast APIs have provided us, and that is now implemented in the version 3 of the YouAttest, which is currently live, is it has like very high performance, and all of our customers who have been using this will see the difference. It's not just the performance in terms of they performing different actions. It is also faster in terms of our resources and the developers as well, that we are able to speed up our development, and which means that you will see more and more features in coming months. Also, it has helped us in reduce the human-induced errors. It has a very interactive documentation that it provides, that we can just have our code be converted into a document file that can be used for future references and other developers. Also, it has an open API standard, which was previously known as Swagger, that I'm sure you must know, and most of the people would know, which uses the JSON schema. Next slide. Okay, so this one
And
is
this
big.
is the exciting one, y'all.
Right.
This is what it. So Sheer took it upon himself to do two major things in this release: make it scale, to millions and just repeatable. And they took it on, and then that was a great accomplishment. But at the same time, to open up the product to APIs. Take it away.
Right. Okay. So basically, now we have our RESTful APIs library available for anyone who wants to integrate that within their system or with any third-party tool that is interconnected or connected with their systems. So we have all of our endpoints exposed in a staging environment where you can access those endpoints and consume our data. And then you can surface that information the way you would like in your applications or systems. So we have all of these endpoint exposed, and we have a very secure authentication mechanism, which is JWT token based. Next slide. Okay, so these open APIs, it has provided us the ability for interoperability, quicker integration with any of your systems. If someone would want to use our APIs and integrate within their systems, that can happen. It has also allowed us to respond to the ever-changing marketplace of opportunities, which is like there are customers who would like to just integrate with one or two of our operation. That could be a CSV audit, or that could be the siloed application reports that we generate. So that is now exposed, and they can pick and choose those APIs and integrate within their systems. Also, with these APIs, we have a catalog of capabilities that our partners and our clients can use, and which is now available for all developers, that they can see to what we have exposed and how we have exposed it. And then they can perform actions and test it before going live with our open APIs. Also, this has allowed us to innovate and deliver deep business technology integration between companies across extended value chain. So this is something that one of our clients was asking, that they wanted the APIs to be connected with a third-party tool. And if we cannot do that, they can do it themselves. By that time, and when they asked this question, at that point in time, we never had our APIs available. But now, since the APIs are available, this can be used, and it can be integrated with any third-party tool on our client's end. Next slide. Okay, so now this is the screenshot of the APIs that we have exposed. So you just see the user management, but you have the company access, the user access, the campaigns, and all of those endpoints exposed. All you have to do is send an email out to support@youattest.com. What we're going to do is we're going to allow you to get inside our staging environment using this. And we will also generate a JWT token for authentication and for confirmed and secure authentication. Once you have that, you are able to use these APIs and perform different operations as you wish and as you would like to integrate with your system. Next slide. All right, so optimized reporting engine for SOX and SOC 2. So let me just tell you regarding this. This was used by one of our clients, and let me just share with you the case study. They had like 17,000 users that they were performing the attestation on, and with that, the user had around 200,000 roles. The PDF and the report that we used to generate to them was taking around 30+ minutes when they used to generate that report, because what used to happen is we had that report coming from different tables inside database. So we had to query different multiple tables and columns, and then fetch that information, compile that, and display that in a PDF format. Now we have reduced that time from 30+ minutes to 2 minutes. So with 200,000 entitlements, you can create report within 2 minutes. This is also, I mean, we have made this very efficient. So basically the size of the file has been is substantially decreased. Also, since these files are stored in our S3 AWS bucket, this is encrypted at rest and in transit when you are calling that information, using the AES 256-bit encryption. So your files are encrypted throughout the process, and this has substantially increased our performance when it comes down to reporting feature that we have released with the version 3. Next slide. All right, so the last item is the customer-centric design. So as you know, all know, customer experience is what we see, the end-to-end journey, including both offline and online activities that our customer performs. The user experience, the quality of interaction with our application, and the service design. So basically, when it comes down to our approach is about realizing that what we are creating, and this is what we are realize that what we are creating is not about what we are thinking. It should be rather than our customers as to how they would want to see our product. It also ensures that, especially with new customers, that we are anticipating their needs and their wants based on our understanding about their business and the user journey that we have discussed with our clients, where we and I mean that way, wherever we meet them, they can take their processes from there and they can start the attestation process through our application. Basically, when it comes down to service design, it allows us to understand what is happening behind the scene. It's not limited to what the customer sees and touch. We learn more about the business segment, as Garrett was just mentioning, the risk manager, the auditors, and the reviewers. So we would like to know, and what we have developed in this version and the UI that you would see is we have worked on all of these fronts. We have discussed the UI UX with these individuals, and that is what we have implemented, which is available now in the version 3 of our product. And then again, this is something which is open. We are open to new recommendations from our clients regarding the UI UX that we have implemented. It has been substantially designed based on our customers and the feedback that we have received from them. And we would love to receive more feedback should there be any by any of our clients. Next slide.
Thank you so much,
All right, I
Jared.
suppose that's about it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay, so now some even more stuff. Now you can see the YouAttest demo live with Kashif. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Kashif, go ahead.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Ashley.
And Kashif, I'll be doing some commentary over, not because Kashif can't talk, but because he's fighting through. He's got a bit of a bug. And so I love guys that just fight through. And FYI, y'all, I'm going to drop in the, because we're all trying to work really nice, the Azure AD admin guide, because a lot of questions on that. And that's what Kashif is going to show.
Right, thanks, Garrett. Greetings, everyone. This is the console or the dashboard of my YouAttest tenant that has been fully integrated with one of my Azure instances right here. And before I go into showing you how it works, I just want to highlight how easy the integration is going to be. It only needs basically 2 to 3 pieces of information. If you know how Azure works, then whenever you're trying to register a new application in there, they will the Azure admin will get the API key, the tenant ID, and the client ID. So once you punch in these 3 pieces of information into YouAttest console, that's all it takes. And maybe another 8 to 10 minutes if you want to enable a single sign-on using our SAML connector. So that's after like 12 to 15 minutes, this tenant of yours will be fully integrated with your Azure tenant. just like this one is. So now you are able to pull and create application audits. You can create group audits. You can create user audits, all automatically in real time, where the data will be fetched by the tool from your Azure instance automatically. So for the demo, just let me go ahead and show you how do you create an audit and how, as a risk manager, you will create that and then assign the task or assign those users or the whole campaign to the reviewers, a single reviewer, or it could be multiple reviewers.
And this is real important for the audience. So now the role Kashif is playing, because we play with this, we don't want to switch screens. Kashif, the risk manager. That's what he did. And here, just to let you know, a lot of the risk managers usually paying IT to get it set up to Azure. That's because they have the credentials. Once that's done, they're gone. IT's gone. The risk manager never has to talk to them again. So now Kashif, the risk manager, decides he has to audit what? Some application, right?
Exactly. Thanks, Garrett. So I'm just going to pick my API source, which is my Azure AD in this instance. Give it a user-friendly name that you can remember, but most importantly, give it a target date, a timeline by which you would like your reviewers to complete the task. On the next screen, since the integration is in place, you are going to see a list of applications that are part of your Azure tenant. So you can choose single or multiple applications as target to create the campaign against. So if I select Finance 01, that's the application I want, and I want to see how many users have access to this application and at what level, I can just click on Done. And what happens is it's going to populate and fetch that information onto my application audits page. And you, as a risk manager, will get a notification that an application audit demo 2 has been imported successfully. Now that you have this audit created, go ahead, Garrett.
No, and this is great. So what you're going to see is the handoff from Kashif, the risk manager, to Kashif, the reviewer. Okay, you should have a little backdrop change, and that kind of stuff, but you'll see. So he's the risk manager right now. He sees everything, sees all the audits going, all that. Then he sends out and pushes the attestation, say that 4 times in a row, out to the respective reviewers based on their manager roles. Take it away.
Great. So as a risk manager, you see when you go inside that audit, you see all the users here that have access to this Finance 01 application, along with their email, their user status. If there is an application role available, it will fetch that information as well. And if there is any application profile information in your Azure instance, it will also be pulled by the tool. Now that you have this information, the risk manager, not that he should be doing the attestation in all the cases. Some cases they do, but if they have to assign it to people who are actually responsible for these individuals, that would make more sense. In this case, you can see the names of the manager each person, each individual here is reporting to. And there are 2 ways a risk manager can assign this task to these managers. One is what we call the auto delegate functionality. What happens is when you click on this single click operation, the YouAttest tool will start looking for this information here, that who is the manager this individual is reporting to, and it will automatically start pushing out emails along with the link to this campaign, letting those people know that they have to participate in an audit. And once they click on that link, they will be having this information, which I'm going to show you shortly how to do that. So let me just go ahead and show you just one user that I'm going to, as a risk manager, I'm going to delegate to someone instead of doing the auto delegate, which will push out to the business unit managers. If you want someone else in addition to the manager, you can use this feature as well and just type in the email and you will select that and assign it to that person. This user is now showing you that it has been assigned to the reviewer at this email ID by Kashif, who's the risk manager in this case.
So Kashif, the risk manager, has, in this case, used the manual delegation, which is great, lots of use it, We have a customer that used the auto delegation that went out to 1,900 reviewers. Imagine doing that with spreadsheets and emails. Okay. So what I do ask the audience to understand is, how can I, the risk manager, do a better job of actually understanding the roles in my enterprise? That's exactly the task that YouAttest has come on, and we're addressing this cloud problem where, you know, Palo Alto says 99% of permissions are overly permissive. How do you address this? You address this with a product like YouAttest. Keep going. Now Kashif is Kashif the reviewer.
Yes, I'm going to switch roles, and now I'm Kashif the reviewer who's looking at his email inbox, and I have this delegation email in my inbox along with the link to that campaign that we just created for that application financial one. So once you click on that, let me just open that up in a different window because I'm already logged in as an admin. Then let me show you what I'll see as a reviewer once I get the link and the email from my risk manager. So once I click on the link, it's going to ask me to sign into my account.
And it's important. He's signing into not a YouAttest account. He's signing into his normal Azure AD SSO account.
Yes, sir. That's correct. And once you put in your password, you will be into the console. Let's see. Okay. Now, look at this dashboard here. It's a lot different than the dashboard for the risk manager. There are limited options here. You know, as a reviewer, I cannot see most of these options, but if I go to auto audits, I'll see this demo 2 being delegated out to me, assigned to me, and I can see that instead of sending out all the users, I'm only assigned one single user that reports to me. So if I go into that campaign, I just go ahead and select this and decide to certify this person. Once I certify, the information is going to be displayed in the subsequent columns. The action taken by the person will be right next to it. The timestamp will be there, at what time and date exactly this action was taken by that person, and the status as completed. Now watch, when I switch roles to from reviewer to an admin, it's going to be a different view. Let me just go ahead and refresh that. And it was nothing before, but since the reviewer has completed the task, now the risk manager can see on his console as well that, you know, the thing that he assigned to Kashif has been completed, the timestamp is there, and status is 100% complete. And same will go with all the rest of the users.
You can see, I love what you just did, Kashif. You showed Kashif the admin connected to Azure, then Kashif and this is for the life cycle of the risk manager, created an attestation, and then pushed out to the reviewer. And we did a nice job of showing the reviewer screen is real succinct. That's all he's got. He's got what Kashif, the risk manager, asked him to attest. No confusion, no whatever, real succinct. Knock out that test and go back to your day job, Mr. Kashif, the reviewer. Great.
Exactly.
Happiness.
And then at the end, I mean, once you complete the whole thing here, the campaign is completed by all the reviewers, you can go back to your application audits page and get the report, which is the end result of every audit that you're going to present as the evidence to your auditors, which you can pull from here. Now, there are two things. If the integration is in place, SSO has been enabled, you can execute all the actions that you will take inside that campaign automatically through this console. Click execute, and it will execute everything that you've done in there inside your Azure AD without even logging into that. Or you can send a report in form of a CSV or a PDF for all the users or only the certified or revoked users to any email ID you would like, to the auditors or internal security and compliance teams, and email that report out, and it will look something like this in a PDF. And if you like further slicing and dicing of the data to make it presentable according to your own needs and audience, you would love to have it in a CSV format.
Nice. And that was really a good summary, because that's what matters, is the evidence. The evidence is what gets uploaded into the report for the SOC 2, the SOX report, the ISO, etc. We are completely compatible to what I call the audit dashboard products. And that means audit board, DRATA, etc. That they need a evidence of the control. That's what we supply. And that's what we automate, and that's what we take the air and the time out of. All right, Ashley. Wow, that was that 35 minutes went fast. Why don't we take some questions? Because there were some write-ins, right?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second here. All right, Q&A time. First question, share. So what integrations do you see using the APIs?
Basically all of them. It's just this that we have to create a company ID and a JWT token for whosoever would want to use our APIs. And then after that, they can choose as to which integration they would want to do it. Like it could be Okta, it could be Azure, it could be GemCloud. So it's up to our clients as to which integration they would want to do with the APIs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and what they probably do is take in some of the stuff that we haven't built the connectors for, right? Sure.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll help. Okay.
Perfect. How about cautious? What about resources that are not in Okta or Azure AD?
Yeah, well, if there are resources that are not connected to your identity store, it could be Okta, it could be Azure AD. We provide solution to that problem as well. We call it, initially we had it in a CSV module, but now we have APIs as well that we can import the data either in a CSV format or through those APIs and ingest that information into YouAttest and let you create these audits and do the attestation just the way I just showed you in case of application audit. So yes.
Perfect. Love it. Garrett, let's say I'm doing risk assessments as an external manager. So how could I partner with YouAttest?
That's what we are really geared up to do for the rest of the year in 2023. But we are a tool builder. Cher's got a great team of guys building this. What we see in the future is that these external third-party risk managers take this product, and you can be referral partners to us today, or you can have the tenants yourself and manage the tenants and itemize and execute these on each one of your customers. Would strongly recommend it. Hit us at info@youattest.com and we'll set up an appointment. We'll talk how to use you. So today, right out, let's get this into your customers. Okay, and we nice little referral agreements, etc. Real low. It's a one pager. Okay, so that's it, and then we can work with you on seeing you get some tenants and just manage them.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to take the next question. So I have the question of, do you have a SOC 2 certification? I'm super excited to announce that we are currently in the audit phase. We started July 23rd and it goes until October 23rd. So we're working with an external audit partner. So come first week of November, we're going to be SOC 2 certified. So this is going to help us grow even more than we already have. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, and Ashley, that's a real SOC 2. That's a SOC 2 type 2. That's the one where they take molars out of your head. So that's what we're yeah.
100%.
That's right. Okay.
Share. So can the program compare an audit? Let's say I did the audit 3 months ago, and then I want to run a test today. And can that contrast the changes between the two time periods?
Definitely, yes. It is something that has been live for quite some time now, and you can definitely create an audit, and you can create a comparison audit based on the initial one and see to what changes has happened inside the roles, the users, and their attestations as well. So this is something which was built in the early part of this year, and it has been live ever since, and it is very much there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, I love this question because currently, obviously, we did the enterprise release, which was huge. But Garrett, what does the future roadmap look like now that we've released the V3? What's next?
3 main things going forward. 1, supporting all the usage of the APIs. Because there's nothing better, there's nothing more than a team likes, and that's my philosophy, is to take in requests from current customers and prospects and build out the product that way. For you guys know what you need. That's how we built this. Okay, so that's number 1. Work with the APIs. Number 2 is to scale out and simplify how third-party risk managers can use this product. Okay, that's in the works right now. Basically, it's called internally the MSP project, where someone just says, hey, I have nine tenants working. Let me manage each one of them. And then we just build on for the users. The third one is, and this is really important, we're doing identity attestations today. That's great. Identity is a problem. As Palo Alto said, 98% and more of the hacks and the permissions are over permission in the cloud. Okay, but this product is capable of attesting to anything. It's attesting to changes in your SASE environment. It's able to attest to your firewall environments, any change. And that's where we're going in the future. And that should be a lot of fun.
Perfect.
Oh,
all right.
Actually,
I want to go ahead and thank our team.
There was one more question that
yeah.
came in, and I read it in real time. It was from Craig. It was about what was it? It was about the triggers. Okay, and sure, I'll let you answer that. Basically, can we take real-time triggers in any of our connections?
Basically, you can take Azure. With Azure, we don't have triggers, but we are working on Jump Cloud triggers. Okta triggers are already there. So with Okta, you can use the triggers, and with Jump Cloud, you will be able to use the triggers. With Azure, since they don't provide us any triggers, so we don't have any event triggers on the Azure side.
Right, but
yes,
the functionality. What is the functionality of the triggers?
Right. So basically, the functionality that triggers is the event audit. So you can use that APIs. I mean, for Okta, if you are connected with your Okta tenant, so that can be used. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just take it. The question was the functionality. The functionality is we work with the IAM product and take the real-time events and then force an attestation, basically an approval of the document that documents that the enterprise acknowledged the change, often used in conjunction with group roles. Okay. And saying, yeah, we acknowledge that the right person has acknowledged that the group roles has changed. Someone's got added to the admin, and that's then recorded, and then that's a report that the auditors can see. In the 3 month, 6 month, 9 month periods, you don't have to dig through, ServiceNow tickets or emails. Okay, and I'm sorry, Ashley, that was the last one. It looked like.
No problem. Okay, I just want to thank our team, especially Cher, Kaushif, the rest of the production and development team for the new release. It took a lot of work, so I'm very excited about it. And I want to thank everyone for coming to the webinar today. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us at info@youattest.com. And also, we have listed our phone number as well. And thank you again. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Great job.
Take care. Just bye.